All right, as we continue in the circle of love, it's Eric Ferguson, 22 years old, from Vermont, software engineer, sports writer formerly, and you love Major League Baseball, and particularly love those '86 Boston Red Sox. So that kind of bittersweet, though, right?
Yeah, well, I was just a kid when that series was on, but it's the only series that they were in my lifetime so far. So
You still appear to be a kid. I mean, how old are you?
22. Okay. So
you have the parental permission slip to be involved in this? You saw how the game works, right? And you saw how during commercial breaks you get more points sometimes. So be aware of that. All right, let's go over the categories here. Steve Garvey with all-star infielders. Jack Ramsey, teams that stunk. Never involved with one of those, were you? All your teams were pretty good.
No, I had a team that stunk.
Sorry to hear that. Tom Jackson, defensive nicknames. And Mike Greenberg with athletes in ads. All right, you understand what's happening?
All set.
Your 2-minute drill begins now.
Steve.
Which sweet-hitting Angels and Twins infielder was a Major League All-Star from 1967 to 84?
Correct. Steve.
Which Cubs second baseman was on the All-Star team from 1984 to 92?
Correct.
Steve.
Matt Williams and Jay Bell represented what team when they starred in baseball's 1999 All-Star game?
Arizona.
Correct.
Steve.
Which KC Royal second baseman was a 5-time All-Star in the 70s and 80s?
Pass.
Frank
Jack.
White.
Immediately after I stopped being their head coach, what NBA team went a record 9-73 in the 72-73 season?
Sixers.
Correct.
Jack.
What NBA team had a miserable 11-71 record?
Mavericks.
Say again?
Dallas Mavericks.
Wrong. Denver.
Jack. Oh, sorry.
Ellsworth.
Tom.
What NFL team's defensive line was known as the Purple People Eaters?
Minnesota Vikings.
Correct.
Tom.
By what thirst-quenching nickname was my Denver Broncos defense known
Orange
in the late
Crush.
70s?
Tom.
What AFC team's defense was known as the Killer Bees in the early 80s?
Bengals.
Miami.
Mike.
In August of 2000, which pro golfer jetted to Canada to do an ad for Buick?
Tiger Woods.
Correct.
Mike.
In 1987 commercial for what beer featured former catcher Bob Uecker and former
Miller
House
Lite.
Speaker?
Correct.
Mike.
Which 5-time U.S. Open men's singles champion encouraged us to nuke it with Nuprin?
McEnroe.
Connors.
Steve.
Which St. Louis Cardinals shortstop was a National League All-Star from
Ozzie Smith.
1943 to 1950?
I'll get it later. He's done. Go
Jack.
elsewhere.
Which Ron Rothstein coached expansion team lost its first 17 games of the 88-89 season?
Miami Heat.
Correct.
Jack.
Which NBA team stank so badly that the NBA Executive Office awarded them a bonus first-round pick in the draft of 1983?
Pass.
Cleveland.
Tom.
Which Oakland Raiders defensive back of the 70s was known as the Assassin?
Lyle Alzado.
Tatum.
Mike.
What shoe company featured Larry Bird and Magic Johnson in a 1980?
Converse.
Correct.
Mike.
Which chrome-domed former NBA great starred with Tara Lipinski in a January 2000 ad for Charles Schwab?
Pass. Tom.
Barkley. That was Charles Barkley at the end. And Steve's question, that was Marty Marin. But you have 10 points, a chance to move into the next round. We're going to have to break that tie real soon. Let's find out if Willie Gibson can come up and get in there alone. Change places, don't smash into each other, and we'll carry on with the rest of round one. Also known as Will Gibson from Columbus, Ohio. But right now, we have to solve a pressing issue. 2 players have 10 points. Only one can carry on. So we had a tiebreaker question before the show. How many walks did Steve Garvey draw in his Major League career? They all overguessed. I mean, if it was close, you were swinging, right?
That's right. Roy Campanella and I have the same philosophy, thou shalt not walk.
All right. And unfortunately, only one shall move on between you, and it's Eric. Eric guessed 1047. 479 was the answer. We got to say goodbye to Rob, but a great effort. You are going to get a Maple Bar and some ESPN products, so enjoy those. Let's find out who carries on in this show when we come back with the second round right after this break on the 2-minute drill.
Time now for tonight's Best Buy 2-Minute Drill Trivia question. Here's the answer to tonight's Best Buy 2-Minute Drill Trivia question.
We're back on the 2-minute drill, second round. Now, under the Sullivan versus New York Times ruling, the player in second place at this point in the show starts first. So that's Eric. You got 10, down 9 points right now to Will. Had that terrific first round. In this round, though, all 5 of us are going to be asking you questions. You won't know the categories going in. It will be about sports. We're just all going to fire a match, and you got to be ready, okay?
Sounds good.
Got to make a comeback here. You set to go?
Ready.
Your 2-minute drill begins now.
Which player known as the Merry Mex won the 1984 PGA Championship?
Pass.
Trevino.
Which New York Knick was once known as Grandmama?
Pass.
Larry Johnson.
Which New York Yankee pitcher and Cuban refugee was rescued by the U.S. Coast Guard in 1997?
Correct.
Which Packer quarterback was voted AP Most Valuable Player 3 consecutive years?
Correct. Which goalie won 4 Stanley Cups with the Edmonton Oilers in the 1980s?
Greg Fuhrer.
Correct.
In baseball scoring notation, what position is represented by the number 5?
Third base.
Correct. Which South African won golf's U.S. Open in 1994 and again in 1997?
Ernie Els.
Correct.
Which 6'9" Dallas Cowboy left football for professional boxing after the 1978 season?
Too Tall Jones.
Correct.
Which coach brought his team to the NBA Finals 7 times during the 80s?
Pat Riley.
Correct.
What ladies tennis phenom won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam singles titles in 1997?
Martina Hingis.
Correct. Since its founding in 1978, the Ironman Triathlon World Championships has been held annually in what U.S. state?
Hawaii.
Correct.
Which former Detroit Lions defensive tackle knocked out a horse in the movie Blazing Saddles?
Pass.
Karras.
Larry Holmes ended a 2-year retirement in 1988 to face which heavyweight champ?
Tyson.
Correct.
Seattle forward was only the 2nd player from the University of Hartford ever drafted
Ben
into
Baker.
the
Correct.
NBA.
Which Oriole returned from colon cancer to win 1998's
Eric Davis.
American League
Correct.
Comeback Player of the Year? What is the northernmost Major League Baseball franchise?
Montreal.
Seattle. What name 2 of Billy Joes who started at quarterback for New Orleans in
Hobart.
1999? Correct.
Beginning in 1981, which African-American golfer led the tour in driving accuracy for 10 straight years?
Calvin Peete.
Correct.
Which Arkansas Razorback was named the Final Four MVP in 1994?
Horace Williamson.
Correct.
Which team nicknamed the 2 CFL franchises, Ottawa and Saskatchewan, both have
Rough Riders.
Correct.
Which surly slugger of the 70s and 80s once sent a rat to a female reporter?
Pass.
Kingman.
Of the Chicago Bulls' 6 NBA titles, how many times did the finals go to 7 games?
0.
Correct.
Jersey Joe Walcott.
You got 27 at this point. Moving up from 10, 17 total. You vaulted into the lead, and now we can see if it's going to stick. Will's trying to move by you right now, and you had the big 19-point first round. Y'all can go ahead and get up. Try not to smash into each other. Will, you know what it's like to be in the lead. Now you see what it's like to be in a deficit situation. Down 27-19. You followed how we played that time. The questions come from all over the place, okay?
Yes.
All right, you in good position?
Yeah.
Your 2-minute drill begins now.
Which golfer won back-to-back U.S. Open championships in 1988 and 89?
Pass.
Which quarterback was selected by the Dallas Cowboys as the first NFL draft pick in 1989?
Aikman.
Correct. Which late Chicago baseball announcer great was nicknamed the mayor of Rush Street?
Harry Carey.
Correct.
What disaster caused the 1989 World Series to be interrupted for 10
Earthquake.
days?
Correct.
Which NBA team plays its home games in the Delta Center?
Utah Jazz.
Correct.
In 1998, Antonio Freeman led the NFL in receiving yards playing with what team?
Green Bay Packers.
Correct.
Which pitcher threw a perfect game in the World Series in 1956?
Larson.
Correct.
What NHL team won the 2000 Stanley Cup?
Dallas Stars.
No, Devils.
Who won the NBA Coach of the Year in 2000, although his team...
Doc Rivers.
Correct. Which Spaniard was the runner-up to Tiger Woods at the 1999 PGA Championship?
Sergio Garces.
Correct.
What college did former Celtic guard Danny Ainge attend?
BYU.
Correct.
Which former Texas Ranger outfielder had a ball bounce off his head and over the fence
Canseco.
for a home run?
Correct.
Who is the only Division I football coach to have had 2 sons head coaching other Division I schools
Wow.
at the same?
Correct.
Bobby
What
Bowden.
became the team name of the NHL's Hartford Whalers after their move in '97?
Coyotes.
Hurricanes.
Who won the women's singles title at the French Open in June of 2000?
Pass.
Pierce.
Which TCU forward led Division I in scoring and rebounding in 1994-95?
Lee Naley.
Kurt Thomas.
Gene Sarazen is credited with inventing what golf club?
The Wood.
Sandwich.
Which high-kicking Hall of Fame pitcher went on to become the Minister of Sports for the Dominican Republic?
Tion.
Marichal. Who won the PGA Player of the Year award in 1998?
Tiger Woods.
O'Meara.
In 1980, who head coached the Cardiac Kids to the AFC Central Division?
Vitigliano.
Correct.
Which female boxing champ bills herself as the coal miner's daughter?
Christy Martin.
Correct. What member of the 1996 U.S. Women's Olympic gymnastics team sued her own parents?
Mochiano.
Correct.
Which kicker is the only Miami Dolphin ever to be named Pro Bowl player of the game?
Didn't have time to spit that one out. That was Garo Yepremian. You've won, though. You got to 33 points, a 33-27 win. You can't leave yet, though. Earlier, at the very beginning, just for our viewers at home, there was Curtis Strange. When you passed at the very beginning, it was Curtis Strange there on that golf question winning the U.S. Open Championships. All right, we got to say goodbye to Eric. We're sorry to do so, but we have some specialty muffins and some ESPN stuff for you. Stay around and find out if Will can turn $5,000 into $10,000 in his specialty, Deion Sanders. We're doing that right after the break on the 2-minute drill.
Time now for tonight's original